My name is Kendrick Sierra Kisworo.
My name is Adusya Dharma.
Hello sir, I'm Muhammad Diki Ramadan.
My name is Rizky Pranata Subarani.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Tris Bintang Aminu.
Okay, for introduction and study objective, in any academic or workplace environment, identifying and managing hazard is absolutely critical to ensuring the safety and well-being of everyone involved. Our study focused specifically on a university building setting, looking at the activity that students and staff perform on a daily basis. This activity includes studying in classroom, using building stair, using restroom, using elevator, conducting cleaning service, and proper waste disposal. Why are these activities important to assess? Because they happen every single day and the hazards within them are often overlooked or taken for granted. A wet restroom floor, a blocked staircase, or an electrical overload may seem minor but without proper control. The objective of this project is threefold. The first is to identify all potential environmental health and safety hazards. The second is to assess the level of risk associated with each hazard. And the third is to develop a prioritized control plan to mitigate those risks effectively. By conducting this a high-risk assessment, we aim to contribute to a safer and healthier campus environment for everyone.
Now let me walk you through the framework and methodology we use in this project. Our assessment follows a structured EHS framework consisting of 4 main stages. Stage 1, hazard identification. We categorize all identified hazards into 3 domains: environmental, health, and safety. Each hazard was assigned a unique code linked to a specific activity and described alongside its potential consequence. For example, a hazard like a wet toilet floor falls on environmental impact. It has an environmental impact, a healthy impact, and a direct safety risk. Stage 2, risk assessment. We use a risk value matrix calculated as likelihood multiplied by consequence greater as LXC. Both likelihood and consequence were scored on a scale of 1 to 4. The resulting risk value then determined the risk level, which was classified into 3 categories: high score 12 until 19, medium high score 8 to 11, and medium low score 4 until 7. This gives us a clear objective picture of which hazard poses the greatest danger. Stage 3, prioritization. After scoring all hazards, we rank them from the highest to lowest risk value. We also calculated cumulative risk percentages similar to Pareto analysis, so we could identify which hazard required the most urgent attention and where to focus our resource first. Stage 4, control plan design. Finally, using the hierarchy of controls, we developed a specific mitigation measure for each prioritized hazard. This control covers 5 levels: elimination, substitution, engineering control, administrative control, and PPE. Each control plan also includes the responsible parties, a completion timeline, evaluation KPIs, and how it integrates into standard operating procedures.
Alright, moving on to our first result, hazard identification. We identified a total 30 hazards across 3 domains with 10 hazards in each category. And then under environmental hazard, the top concern include electrical overload causing overheating, blocked staircase, obstructing evacuation routes, poor lighting in stair area, increasing accident risk, wet toilet floor using slippery surface, and flammable cleaning material storage using chemical or virus. And next, under health hazard, the highest risk item identified were wet toilet floor leading to fracture or sprains, electrical overload causing burn injury or electric shock, and blocked staircase leading to fall injuries during evacuation. We also identify hazards like poor ventilation causing respiratory irritation, overcrowded classroom causing stress and fatigue, and even poor posture from phone use causing neck and shoulder pain. And next, under safety hazard, the most critical finding was again the wet toilet floor ranked as high risk, along with electrical overload, blocked staircase, poor ventilation, and overcrowded classroom, all rated as medium high risk. The fact that certain hazards like wet floor, electrical overload, and blocked staircase appear across all three domains highlight just how interconnected this risk area and why a comprehensive environmental health safety approach is necessary. Thank you. Next.
Now let's look at the risk assessment result in more detail. Environmental risk assessment using our L time symmetries. The top scoring environmental hazards were electrical overload A01, block staircase A04, and poor lighting in the stair area A05, its scoring a risk value of 9, classified as medium high. The wet toilet floor A03 and flammable cleaning material storage A10 both score 8, also medium high. The remaining hazards, damage writing, waste accumulation, poor ventilation, overcrowded classroom, and smoking in the restroom area, it score 6, placing them at medium low. Health assessment. The standout finding here is hazard H03, the wet toilet floor, which score a risk value of 12, making it the only high risk. Her hazard in our entire study. This is because it has a high likelihood of 5 combined with a consequences score of 3. Electrical overload H01 and block staircase H04 both score 9, at medium high. The remaining 7 health hazards include damage writing, waste accumulation, poor ventilation, overcrowded classroom, poor posture from phone use, flammable cleaning materials, and elevator anxiety. L score 4 to 6, classified at medium low. Safety risk assessment. Similarly, in the safety domain, the wet toilet floor S03 again scored the highest at 12. Looking at the Pareto charts, in the health domain, just 3 hazards, H03, H01, and H04 account for 43% of total cumulative risk. In the safety domain, the top 5 hazards account for 60% of total risk. This confirms that a small number of hazards are responsible for the majority of risk exposure.
Okay, result number 3, prioritization. Based on our risk assessment score, we applied the Pareto principle to prioritize which hazard to address it first. Across all 3 domains, the top priority hazard is consistently the wet toilet floor. It is the only hazard that reacts a high risk level, risk value equal to 12, in both the health and safety categories. This means it requires immediate corrective action. The second tier of priority, medium-high hazard, includes electrical overload, blocked staircase, poor ventilation, overcrowded classroom, and flammable cleaning material storage. These hazards score between 8 and 9 and must be addressed urgently. True, they are one step below immediate emergency response. The third tier, medium-low hazard, which score between 4 and 7, still require control plans but can be addressed within a more flexible timeline. This prioritization ensures that our limited resource, whether budget, manpower, or time, are directed toward the hazard that will produce the greatest reduction in risk. By addressing the top 30 until 40% of hazard first, we can eliminate over 50 until 60 of the total risk exposure.
Now let's discuss the control plans for the prioritized hazard. Our plans follow the hierarchy of control from elimination to PPE. For the wet toilet floor, the highest priority hazard, we plan to redesign the drainage system, replace the slippery tiles with anti-slip flooring, install warning signs and grip bars, and require no-slip footwear for staff. The target completion is within 1 week. For electrical overload hazard, we will reduce unnecessary device, replace old equipment with safer alternative, install circuit breakers, and conduct monthly inspection and safety training. The timeline is 1 month. For block staircase, the control include removing obstruction, improving emergency access, adding handrails and emergency lighting, and conducting evacuation drills. The timeline is 2 weeks. For flammable cleaning material, we will replace hazardous product with safer alternative, provide fire-safe storage, and apply proper chemical handling procedure. The timeline is 1 month. For poor ventilation, improvement include better airflow system, air quality monitoring, and installation of air purifier. The timeline is 2 months. Each control plan also include responsible personnel and KPIs to ensure the control are effective and sustainable.
Spanning environmental, health, and safety domains, covering daily activities such as studying in classroom, using stairs in restrooms, operating of elevators, and conducting cleaning activities. Our research revealed that the wet toilet floor is the single most critical hazard, achieving a high risk rating of 12 in both the health and safety categories. This is primarily due to its high likelihood of occurring combined with a significant potential for injuries such as fractures, sprains, or more serious trauma from a fall. This finding highlights that even seemingly ordinary conditions in everyday spaces can pose serious threats if left uncontrolled. We also found that electrical hazards, including overloaded circuits and damaged wiring and physical obstruction, such as blocked staircases, represent a consistent medium-high risk across all 3 EHS domains. These hazards are particularly dangerous because they directly impacting evacuation capability during emergency, which can turn a manageable incident into a disaster. Through our Pareto analysis, we confirmed that addressing just as the top 3 to 5 hazards in each domain allows us to eliminate more than 50% of the total cumulative risk, make a strong case for focused, prioritized intervention rather than trying to address everything at once. Our control plans apply the full hierarchy of controls from the elimination and substitution at the highest level through engineering and administrative control down to PPE, ensuring that protection are layered and robust. Most high priority actions are achievable within 1 to 4 weeks, making this a realistic and actionable plan for our campus management. This key takeaway from this project is this: safety is not accidental. It requires deliberately identification, honest assessment, and committed action. A safer university is not just about physical infrastructure, it is about building a culture where every student, staff member, and facility manager takes ownership of the hazard around them. We hope this assessment serves as a useful foundation for improving EHS practice at our campus, and we encourage continued regular reviews to ensure this control remain effective over time. Thank you for watching. This has been Group 4's presentation on EHS risk assignment. Thank you.